So the clip maker in Adobe Express has finished baking and we're in the review stage. Kimberlee Whitt, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me. So I saw the link for using the custom GPT tool that you created. Yeah.
The entire thing and say, here's what I need from you. This part right here.
Yes.
But I want to make sure that you understand the context. So I'm going to copy all this stuff.
All that stuff.
And put it in. But I don't want it to get confused. So I'm going to say, I need you to
Right.
really focus on this because what you're submitting first is that mini social media strategy plan that you're going to take from ChatGPT and improve like anything else you get from AI.
Correct.
And we want the PDF transcript of the GPT conversation to be robust. So that means making sure you're having a conversation back and forth like, oh, I want to improve this. Be iterative with your prompts so that you can say, I don't really like this part about the audience profile plot and platform.
Right.
Because I didn't give you my persona recently. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to get my persona. I'm going to plug that in too. So you have a better idea of who we're speaking to. Yes. And honestly, these little bullet points, that's your social media strategy plan. It's just this right here. Right.
Okay.
So these are the 4 main points. You're limited to just 350 to 500 words. You're going to have a conversation with this custom GPT, and this custom GPT is going to give you advice. Some of it will be fantastic and some of it will be horrible, or some of it will be mediocre. Usually mediocre.
Okay.
The transcript is better. It's better to export it as a PDF or copy it into a Word document or copy it into a Google Docs document and make it a PDF, just because then it's static and you don't have to worry about it. Oh no, I didn't get to access it. So now that's a big deduction because one of the main points of our 3 main points is now missing.
If we do it on YouTube or Instagram, we need to submit the links for those.
Oh, absolutely. And most people will want to use YouTube Shorts just because it's easy and it's already integrated into the YouTube platform that we've been using. And a really cool feature with Shorts is you can promote the video that it came from. So you edit that podcast episode 2. And in the short, it says, hey, do you want to see the rest of this episode at the bottom? So it's like you're promoting your podcast, which is part of the reason we're doing this. We don't want their logo on our stuff. We're promoting us. We're not promoting this app or whatever it is. And because you are a UTSA student, you have access to Adobe Premiere Pro, which will do this automatically with what's called the AI Auto Reframe. So in Adobe Premiere Pro, you have access to what's called the AI Reframe, which will let you take your normal landscape format video and switch it into a portrait. And it'll reframe on the action, which in this case is you speaking. Your guest and you will be reframed automatically just by clicking this button in Adobe Premiere Pro. You can use the other sites that do it. There are lots of different things that will do it. Some of them might be easier than Adobe Premiere Pro, and that's fine. The one thing we don't want, though, is we don't want a logo in the bottom right corner or the top or wherever that's going to detract from your podcast brand. If there's a logo, it should be your podcast logo. It should not be another app. There are sites that will do that, and you can do that in Adobe Podcast. Adobe Podcast is really good at the short stuff because they have those file limits right now. So you could do this as an editing exercise in Adobe Podcast and then export it into Adobe Premiere Pro and then AI Reframe to get the format you want. When it comes to content, you need to decide what is useful. And AI can help. You can take your transcript and pop it into an AI of your choice, and you can say, hey, I want to make some shorts clips. I want to make some TikTok clips. I want to make some reels, but I need the most compelling content from this. And it'll key you into where you might wish to do that. Another free app that has a paid version as well is Riverside FM. Riverside FM, whenever you upload your podcast, it's going to automatically create those. Unfortunately, it's a paid service and they will have like a logo on there and stuff. If it has a logo, do not use them. Is defeating the entire thing, right? Like AI captions, you might be able to get away with, but there are certain ones that have logos on the free tier, and that will absolutely wreck what we're trying to do here because we're trying to promote you and your podcast. We're not trying to promote their software. Yeah, but for our purposes, we don't need them because we have the Adobe Creative Suite. And by the way, Adobe Express does short clips too. Adobe Express will create your short clips. The trick is you've got to edit it first. Yeah, Buzzsprout will give you some analytics. They're not as good as YouTube. YouTube is the king. That's why we use them. They give a level of analytics and detail for public videos, not for unlisted or private videos, but for public videos, it is truly unmatched. So you were asking about resizing. Adobe Express does that too. So if you click on this, it'll say, oh, what do you want to resize? It can be a file size up to a gig. So I created a very small version of this so that it would easily be able to resize. So here I am. This is my podcast. It's an hour long, but I exported at 720p just so that I could use this as an example. Right here, 9:16. Now, wait a second. I want to make sure that this, isn't quite centered. I want to make it more centered on my silly face here. And it's going to center that, and I'm going to be able to play that. And of course, if you wanted a different kind of cropping, you can do that too. It defaults here to Instagram, but TikTok is the exact same thing. It's 9:16. And Facebook, 9:16. And, YouTube, 9:16. 9:16 will work in all of these different apps. And a lot of them only have 9:16.
For social media.
Yeah. You can ask AI for help for what to show, but ultimately it is your decision.
Right.
And here's my transcript. Hey, what part here do you think I should key in on? And if you can export it with the timestamps, it's even easier because AI can say at 0.534, it looks like you made a really interesting point here, or you had a great question, or your guest said something that's super sparky. And you can use that. You can choose any of the episodes you have. The only criteria is it's from an existing podcast, because the whole point is to get the skill set. We don't want you creating a new video from scratch, your phone. That would be way too easy, right? If you just hold out your phone and say, I'm going to talk to you and tell you exactly what I said on my podcast, that doesn't work, because we want to promote the podcast. And that means taking that video and processing it with something like this. You can do 1080p here too. It's just you're going to want to upload an already edited file. So you might take your full podcast and say, I'm just going to upload this minute right here. And then I'm going to use this Adobe Express tool instead of using AI in the AI Reframe tool in Adobe Premiere Pro. And if you use the Adobe AI Reframe tool, you don't have to use Adobe Express at all. And a lot of people, because their podcasts are long and their resolution's high, they can't use this because it's going to be over a gig. So they're going to have to export their project and then cut it up and then upload it here. Or they're going to have to use Adobe Premiere Pro and just use the AI Reframe function. And the AI Reframe tool will center the action on that particular thing. And since you're only doing a short 30 to 45 second clip, it's real important to pick the one that you want, right? And if you create a new project and then say, oh, I just want this part from this project, then you're dealing with a much smaller file size, and then it becomes easier to work with. If you made your account private, they won't know who subscribed. So we've uploaded our video into Adobe Express. Ideally, it's not an hour like my example here, but we can open it in the editor there, and it's going to show the resized video because that's what I started on. And the other really cool thing you can do here is you have access to all these other effects. And since it's a social media thing, access to these little simple effects in Adobe Express can really help you. Little circle, barn door. I mean, some of these you probably don't want to use because they're completely against the conventions of social media. The other cool thing is you can add audio. The other cool thing is they have the sound effects, which are new. These whoosh sounds are great for transitions. They help add that layer of interest to your transitions. So we're going to fade in, bring it down a little bit more, pull up Adobe Express and click on video. And then down here under video quick actions, click view all. And then click video again to get rid of all the other things that aren't video.
Right.
And you'll see caption video, super useful. Animate, convert GIF, crop, merge, resize, clip maker, trim video. And this clip maker, so if you export it, go to Adobe Premiere Pro and then export it at a lower quality, like 1080p, cut out just half of the video, and then say, I want to just deal with this half instead of the entire thing. This generate clips button is exactly what the other services do. And it's going to upload the video. It's going to look at the transcript and it's going to produce it for you.
Shut up. Are you serious?
So glad they finally added this feature. You want to export your project either using Adobe Premiere Pro, AI Reframe, and then just a part of your project so that it's under the gigabyte limit. And then you can just say, okay, I just want to deal with the first half of the episode, or I just want to deal with the last half of the episode. In order to upload a smaller clip, I would just arbitrarily pick the halfway mark so it's shorter, export that clip just like you would your final video, and then you can upload that in a 1080p to Clipmaker, and it'll make the clip for you. Now, the higher the resolution, the better. So if you can export it at 1080p or 4K, obviously do that. So if you wanted to use Adobe Podcast, for example, you could open that up and then delete half of your interview or half of your solo episode or whatever you've chosen to create for your social media project. And then you'll have less to actually edit and upload to Clipmaker. And Clipmaker will work far faster than it is right now, because right now it's analyzing an hour-long video and yours are only 20 minutes. In Adobe Premiere Pro, the very top right of the program has a quick export feature. It does it faster and not as high quality, and that's what could work for this. And if you wanted to choose, before you do that, you can choose, oh, I want this at 720p, or oh, I want this at 1080p instead of 4K. It can analyze the clips, and you can use Clipmaker that way for free instead of having to pay one of these other services.
How do you know how big it is?
Give you a preview of how big the file is in megabytes. Whenever you select 720p, it'll show a lower number. When you select 1080p, it'll show you a higher number.
Oh, like in your export?
Yeah. So like it'll say, this is going to be this big. So do you see how it says estimating file size right here? So,
yeah.
So click that drop down menu and click like 720p or 1080 HD, and it'll say, oh, it's 3916 megabytes by pulling on one of these things. And then you'll definitely have a much smaller file to work with. And then you come back and you do the other half and you export the other half using that quick export. So you have to select the sequence first and then check this out. So do you see where it says down here, auto reframe sequence? In Premiere Pro, you select the sequence, and then this little sequence right here, auto reframe sequence. If you wanted to use this, you would go to sequence, and then you would go to auto reframe sequence right here. So you're deleting a huge amount here.
Yeah.
You're going to, oh, look at that, 1080p and it's 630.
Oh.
So that's exactly what we want. Yes, that is correct. 1,000 a gig. I'm not correct.
All right. So it has to be under 1,000.
Has to be under 1,000. So your timeline, when you go to quick export, should be under 1,000 if you want to use the Shorts Maker tool in Adobe Express. Kimberlee, what was that important tip you were just sharing?
Is that you should upload early so that your videos, because they can take a really long time to upload, so you don't want to wait last minute and then you're having to wait for your video to upload overnight when it's due the next day. So
exactly, especially if you're going to use Adobe Express Clipmaker to analyze your clips and create clips. We've been doing this the entire call, right? How long is
an hour?
Okay, it's been an hour. So this is 50% and it's been an hour. So do start as soon as possible so that your Clipmaker has time to find those awesome clips. So the Clipmaker in Adobe Express has finished baking and we're in the review stage. As you can see over here, I have 10 clips that it's chosen from my hour-long content to review of varying lengths. It gives me the options to choose these and to upvote them or downvote them or to delete them. And whenever I hit play over here, I will see the edit caption text over here and I can choose different options on the right. And of course, I can drag here to make this less and drag here to make that less, or I can export this and edit it in another software as well. And then we can open in the editor. It'll download the file, open in the editor. Here it is. So it shows me all the different pages that it's auto-clipped to create. And I can click on any of these over here and I can say edit page. And now I have all of the edit timeline features that exist in Adobe Express. And that's how you create clips with Adobe Clipmaker and then edit the clips using Adobe Express.